get started here shortly. Having a conversation with Al Curry out of Texas City, Texas. We're going to be talking about financial and physical fitness, physical and financial fitness. I really want to draw some comparisons between the two and between how you accomplish the two. And when wrapping your mind around those comparisons, how it could make it to where you could apply certain principles to the second that you apply to the first. Now that depends on which one is actually your strong suit. Now, that dialogue is definitely going to be something that pushes people outside their comfort zone. Something that really stretches me in both directions regarding financial and physical fitness. So I look forward to having a conversation. We should get started here very shortly. So y'all hang tight, and we'll be with you shortly. All right, we got Al Curry in the house. You hear me, man? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? All right, looks like Al can't hear me yet. Al, can you hear me? Can you hear me, man? All right, Al, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Can you hear me?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Good deal, man. Well, you know, I just threw our flyer up, just kind of give people a little something to look at and to anticipate. But yeah, man, I'm glad to have you. And I was just sharing with the audience on how we're going to be discussing financial and physical fitness, and how really, if you can take certain principles from one and apply them to the other, that's when you can really start to see growth in so many different areas in life. So before we get started, man, I want you to share with the people, man, just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, some of the things that you've been involved in. What is your current focus, and like really, where you looking to take your life, man?
For sure. So where I'm from Texas City, Texas. Lamar, Texas is a very small town. But my dad, he's from Houston, so like I always had that small town, big city feel. So like I have the bridge between both. If you ask me, I've always just wanted to be the best version of myself since a kid. It started off when I was just like in high school and middle school, just figuring out like how can I use sports to not just I had end up getting hurt and stuff. How could I use sports outside of the traditional way of just going to the NBA and going to college? How could I use that to just further my career? So I decided to go to school for physical therapy, and then along my journey, that's when I realized that I really I love personal training more than anything, and I was just trying to figure out how could I bridge that wellness and health gap, because I understand there's like a lot of information that a lot of people just don't have in their hands every day. So I just came back home throughout my journey due to like just being an influence to my peers and also my family. So I decided to leave to end that journey a little bit sooner because felt like I had enough education to just do the things that I need to. Once I got back home, I ended up working at a gym home at World Gym Tech City. Ended up started off just as a trainer there. Some things happened, and then ended up having to take my career elsewhere. Ended up coming back, ended up being a trainer, having my own book, and ended up meeting my significant other right now. So just came back full circle for me. And now I'm in a position where I'm like taking on leadership in different places, and also building my financial education up to where I can help people get their credit right, and also understand investments, and also just honestly just continuing to improve myself as I get older, because I'm only 25. So I just know if I just continue to just buckle down and just be disciplined in each financially with my fitness and also with my mindset, it's just going to come back full circle for me. Can't hear you, B.
I was up here talking and
Okay, cool.
realized I muted myself.
I was like, hold on, is it me?
So yeah, man. Just to reiterate,
Yeah.
what I was saying was, I love the fact that you're an athlete, because a lot of times people say, okay, if you're an athlete or you were an athlete, you can easily take the fact that you had to be coachable to become an athlete or to maintain, being an athlete. So you should be coachable enough in this space over here to, achieve greatness as well. But a lot of people don't like that comparison, because they feel, this is just two different spaces. The coachability, like that's completely different.
Yeah.
And I could I can attest to that, but at the same time, I feel that there's certain things, especially when you're the type of person that you're inwardly motivated.
Mm.
Like, you motivate yourself because you want more, not because somebody else outside of you said you should want more. I think about lifting weights specifically. So in physical fitness, we intentionally we intentionally put extra pressure on our muscles because we know that's going to help us to grow physically. And one thing that's sad is that we can't apply that principle. And I'm not going to say we in general, but the vast majority of us, we can't really apply, or we don't apply that principle to our finances,
Yeah.
where we're willing to pressure ourselves to spend less over here. We pressure ourselves to take more actions over here to build our credit, to build our financial portfolio, whatever it may be. What would you say you've been able to take from your fitness space, from your being a personal trainer? Because when you're a personal trainer, you out there pushing other people.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of times they say, a mentor of yours and mine, he would mention in the training every so often, you can't sell a dream looking like a nightmare. So if you're a physical fitness trainer, a personal trainer, whatever it may be, but you're obese, you lazy, you always eating nasty, and everybody sees that, ain't nobody gonna want to be trained by you.
True.
So how have you, at an early age, and I'm telling you, when I was your age, it was far from my mind, financial, awareness, education, intelligence. But how have you been able to take what you're doing in the physical fitness and the personal training space and apply it to your self-discipline and getting your finances in the right place?
Sure. The best way that I put that is just pretty much I understand, like, I can only do so much by myself. I get help whenever I need help. When you think about it, growing up, I had to be a student. When I played sports, I had to be a student. I had to learn plays. I had to learn how to push myself. I had to learn how to tell myself I can't do this. Stop telling myself I can't, and tell myself that I can. So just transitioning in from being the student to, like, now, like, I'm teaching people, and just want to understand, like, the power that I have, because, like, each session, I do my best to set you up for a breakthrough, so that way you can see more of your goals and stuff like that. So this is the same thing with your finances. I got Chris, who's done a lot of great things, and he tells me he has a six-figure checklist. So I have things to keep in mind. All right, you want me to understand credit better? all right, let me get a part of this credit repair business. And let me just do what I can. Let me listen to people like Dave Ramsey, just putting things in my ear to keep, just to understand what I can be doing today to put myself forward 10, 15 years from now. And just trying to discipline and just keep those things in mind right now. So that way, when I'm 35, 45 years old, I'm able to, sponsor my own teams, be able to, start up on my own league at some point or be an owner of the NBA or whatever the case may be, and just also just using my creative mind and my financial intelligence to create opportunities for myself because I just understand the importance of not just relying. It's okay to have a job, but it's also you gotta have multiple streams of income in order to make it, and you gotta get some wherewithal in order for it to see 2K a week. You have to have a system in place, save yourself some time, energy, and money. So understanding just from the coaching I got from this enrichment program that I was a part of, from working with Chris, it's just I understand I have to get information and wisdom so that way I can pass it down to my children and my little brother because I'm the oldest of all the grandkids. So I believe it's my job to just put everybody in a position where they're comfortable with their job or their career or their profession. I believe this is the best way to go about it, just getting information from people with wisdom who obtained it, who went there and actually got the experience so that way I can teach just because I understand the importance of just having wisdom at a young age and seeing how it can mature you just further if you just apply it. Just because looking at how Aunt Viv and Will Smith, they're getting along, but they just talked for the first 7 years. Looking at Gucci and a Young Jeezy, how they just sat down and had the verses together. Just understanding our culture and filling it up with love, as much as possible, so that way people can just flourish, because it's time for us to heal each other more than ever.
Man, all right. So you see me looking down. I've been taking notes as you speak because we got to unpack a lot of what you just said, man. And I was up literally 3 o'clock in the morning watching the Fresh Prince reunion, watching the replay of verses. And, I skipped around through the verses replay, but I caught the entire second half whenever the beef came up, all the way to I'm So Icy. And you probably saw on my Facebook, I posted the video, I'm So Icy. Both of those, they take me back to my childhood, to my high school days, my early college days. I remember I had a back in the day where you used to make your own mixtapes where you rip. And I'm not telling nobody to go out there and steal music, but when you can have a CD and then you download the music, you rip it, and you be bumping this mixtape. I had so many Jeezy songs on these mixtapes, and I remember I had a stereo system put in my car, and I was beating, man.
Yeah,
I remember rocking I'm So Icy like it's yesterday. And then the Fresh Prince, man, so many of us, we grew up on that, especially in my generation. Yeah. And, it was something that, it's been replayed for years, for decades.
Yeah.
So I know for those who watch the reunion, and I encourage anybody who has any type of background with the Fresh Prince, you want to watch it, but try and watch it when you can be vulnerable and you can let your eyes sweat a little bit because it gets a little touchy. But I just really wanted to hit on those because the fact that you mentioned them, and I just watched both of them last night. But just to unpack a little bit more of what you mentioned, something that you said towards the beginning was you understand that there's going to be certain things that you aim to do, but you need help with.
Yeah, for sure.
And one thing about men, specifically Black men, is I got this. I'm good. No, you ain't good. You ain't got this. And be okay with it. Understand that we'll never be able to ultimately get to our self-actualized version until we actually reach out to those who've been there and done that. So the fact that you were able to to ask for help when you need it. And we're going to take this to the whole physical fitness space. If you in the gym, you trying to get big, but you put a little more weight on that bar than you can actually handle, you gonna ask for a spot.
For sure.
And it's become customary. It's like you're not embarrassed to ask for a spot.
Yeah.
It ain't no different in your financial life. If you're trying to get somewhere financially and you haven't been there before, and you're not truly sure how do I get there, ask for a spot. Reach out to someone who you see doing it, and they can help you start to make that journey towards actually getting to where it is you're aiming to get to. Now, bringing your physical or your fitness space and your finances together, you made a statement that you want to be able to get to a certain place financially so that maybe someday you can sponsor your own team. So you kind of took yourself to the giving space. So let me get so I can sponsor and give later. Tell us a little bit more about that. Why do you have a heart to get to where you ultimately want to get to and then give back? Where does that come from?
That's deep. Oh, that's a deep question. I'm glad you asked that because like it gave me a chance to like finally just tell the world why I'm just I have so much understanding for kids, and I also understand coaches. Or just not just coaches, but also like adulthood. Just as I get older, you see the coach's perspective more. Just you're not coming from a kid anymore who just want to play the game. Just understanding the importance of like those memories that those kids have, and I just want them to have a way better experience than I did. Just because like I've had coaches who just had a heart for the game, but their mind wasn't in the right space due to them not having their finances together, or not being like they're being so focused on this to where it's taken away from their family. So I just want to create an environment where like it's inclusive, because like all of that, it draws them that sense of balance, that it's just a sense of balance that's needed in sports more than ever. So that way these coaches just feel like they're doing their job and they don't mind putting these kids in a position to win. Because if you got a heart for the game, and your mind's in the right place, it's easier for you to get these cues and just see the potential. Because I believe like and compete for championships. In order to compete for a championship, your weakest link has to be just as strong as your strongest one. And like a lot of programs aren't built like that. So I feel like I have a mindset to where I can create something to help people, the everyday coach, and the everyday person, just become the best version of themselves. With me helping people learn about credit, from learning about trading, from learning about how to get their fitness together. And like with all that, me doing all of that myself, is just created a mindset to persevere and just be resilient. Just because of my nature, like my dad is incarcerated right now, and he's been in and out of jail my whole life, but he's pushed me and has put so much wisdom into me to where I know that everything's gonna be all right. Cause like he got his CDL while he's in there, he's changing his life, and just to see the impact that I have on people right now, I just know 10 years from now it's just gonna be a beautiful thing. Cause like my little brother, he's going into his senior year, they looking pretty good, and his cousin, he just went off to go play college basketball, and then my other cousin who just got through playing sports, he ended up he got his own car. He's going to school, but he also has his own car wash business. And then my best friend, he also trains. And looking at him, he has his own brand. He just got to finish with his engineering degree. And like also, he's just selling shoes on the side. And then my girlfriend, she trains, but she also just published her first book. So just like everyone, my team around me in my community, the ones that are like in my corner, they're flourishing. And I'm just excited to see how they're going to grow, because like I just know with the wisdom that I've obtained from people like Chris and yourself, and people just as in $100 million run, and also within the Rich Way, these environments where I'm just enriching myself is just going to help me be a better version of myself, and also impact my community in so many ways.
Man, I'm glad that you mentioned about your father. For those of you who may be watching that don't know, I do a Black Podcast live show every week. Typically, it's on Thursdays. Yesterday, we had Jeff Johnson, um, creator of Man Cave on BET. He interviewed Barack Obama. You know, someone that's really done some great things in life. And we interviewed him as a black dad. So yes, he did all these other great things, but what type of father are you? What type of dad are you? So we had a great conversation with him, and even after we ended the live, we had about 2 minutes, 2 3 minutes where he just gave us some more, like just keeping it real and raw. He told me some things to really take to heart when it comes to me being from Mississippi and how I can really make my mark by embracing that. But I say all that to say, you mentioned your father being incarcerated, but you still speak of him with such love.
Oh,
And you know, I've heard you have many conversations, you know, about your
mhm.
dad. Not very extensive conversations, but many times you mention him, you mention his impact in your life, and it's always positive.
Mhm.
Now, whenever the day comes that you have a little one, I can only imagine the type of father that you will be, man. So, what can you tell us in like putting finances and physical fitness? We'll jump right back to that. Putting that aside, I think this is very important. You're 25 years old, and your father has been in and out of your life or in and out of prison for your whole life, and you still have this positive perspective of him and on life in general. Like, where does that come from? Where did you develop that type of heart?
I believe that's a great question, man. I just always had a heart to help people, you know. And I believe if I want to help people in the world, I gotta help my family. Like it's no other way around it. It's like, and I understand. It's like I would be a fool to not hear his side of the story, you know, and see where he came from. And like once I heard his side of the story, it gave me so much empathy for him because like I just seen like when I became 18, that's when we got our closest. Um, and once I heard his story and like everything he had to go through, it just put things in perspective. Because when he was 15 years old, he didn't have sports like I had sports. You know, he had to rely on the streets more than sports. And it's just like I understood his journey and his path because like he didn't have people, coaches and stuff that were instilling stuff with me in me on a daily basis who could just point me in the right direction. So I understand the importance of just taking those cues from people and just making the best out of them, no matter the outcome. Just because like it's not all about winning. Sometimes it's about really just improving yourself and finding ways to win more than you lose. And the best way to do that is just by being optimistic. So once he told me a story of like I was a kid, I had some resent. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and just say like I didn't have it at all. But when I became a man, that's when I really realized that I had to do what's best for not just him, but also best for me and him. Because like at the end of the day, like I'm gonna be a dad one day, and I want my dad no matter what. I would want my son to just love me no matter what I do, and like I believe that's what as kids, that's our only job we have is to love our parents like no matter what. And as long as you find a way to do that, it's gonna make it better for you because like you're gonna heal, you're gonna grow, they're gonna heal, they're gonna grow, and it's gonna come full circle. So I'm just thankful that I was like I didn't let that resentment get too deep to where it was gonna be a whole lot of work at the end because like I believe people always tell me like my dad had a heart of gold, like but his mind was like messed up. Like now they see me, they're like, your dad, you know, and it fills me up and gives me that fire that I need because like and it just helps me just understand that like it's like I'm not doing it. I'm doing what's right. I know I'm doing what's right for my generational lineage, not just for the moment. So it's just the right thing to do.
That's real, man, and I admire that because a lot of young guys your age, like they wouldn't even give it the chance. Like I don't want to hear your side of the story. Like if you was here, I hear your side of the story.
And
Like
honestly, it's like this is my first time ever telling like people like growing up in school when I was in high school and middle school, like people didn't know my dad was in jail or anything. People thought I had like a father. I always had people in my life who was like a father figure. People didn't like look at my situation as if like I was without a father. Um, but like there's like something about not. It's like no matter if you have a father figure in your life, if it's not your father, it's gonna be some type of work you got to do, you know. And like I just encourage everybody to do the work, you know, no matter where you at in your stage. And if you need help, just communicate with me because like I understand the pain of like having somebody there, but it not being a person you want it to be. But you just got to take it for what it is until it get better because like they want to be there. Just like these past 400 years, man, we've been going through so much stuff. It's not all on them. It's because they put so much mental trauma on their brain to where they can't function well. And so you got to give them grace until we break all this up. And like, I just encourage people to just understand the power of just giving people grace. It really help you in them grow.
That's real, man. And so much of what you just mentioned, it ties right into finances and fitness. Like, like really, if you look back, we kind of we were kind of culturally engineered to be great physical specimens. Like we have been put to work for centuries. It's
Yeah.
like our physical body been like this put to work for centuries. So it's like it's ingrained into us to be great in the physical space. So one thing that we had the complete opposite was education. Over the centuries, we were not permitted to be educated. We're not permitted to know about money. We weren't given the same access. And to this day, the access still isn't equal, isn't equitable. So it really it takes, like they say, a village to raise a kid. It takes the village pretty much to raise an adult too. Now, if you weren't taught these financial principles as a kid, once you come into your adult years, you can't be too caught up in your ego to, well, you know what? I mean, I'm grown. I can figure this out on my own. No, like you said, you got groups like the Rich Way. That's how you and I actually met. Whereas we had individuals around us that were pouring into us on a regular basis, that we were able to link up, to go here, go there, and be empowered to be more than who it is that we were. And I feel like, and I don't even feel like, I know
Mm.
so many of us will never become who it is that we're meant to be because we're too caught up with who we were. We're too caught up with where we came from. We're too caught up with what reputation we've got to keep based off of where we came from.
For sure.
When we really need to look outside, look outward, look at, okay, who is where you're actually wanting to be? How are you putting yourself around them? You mentioned the Rich Way, the coaching program. You mentioned Chris Holder's group, the $100 million Run group, where you're continuously putting yourself around people who want more out of life, and you're being able to glean off of one another. Where you mentioned a six-figure secret checklist and 2K a week. Now, for those who don't know what those are, six-figure secret checklists and 2K a week. Talk a little bit about what you know about each of those, how you use it for yourself, and how you plan on using it for those who you're really pouring into in the financial space.
Simply put, he put together 6 or 7 videos where you can just go throughout the week to put together a game plan to see 2K a week. And it's just finding a product or service that you are comfortable selling, and just finding ways to just generate that money and that income. And also with the 6 figure checklist is just some things to keep in mind in order for you to 6 figures. And once you see that 6 figures, it's just about duplicating it time after time. So that way, it's just you can use it for yourself, but also use it for your people around you. So I believe it's just a great way for me to stretch myself and challenge myself, just because I understand the importance of just finding something that works for you. Because like it's about building passive income more than anything, and like that's something that's not taught to us from a young age. Like everybody wants to tells us to go get a job and just do this, but on the other side, we really got, in order to really have more time, energy, and money, you got to find a way to make your job work for you. And like it feels as if you're building something that's going to create long-term success and long-term wealth, because it's it's challenging, but it's going to be worth it in the long run, because like at the end of the day, you're going to be able to tell your people from experience like how to generate income, regardless of the time. So I believe this is just a great way for me to push myself, and also once I get it down to a T, be able to do my own thing and help empower my own community, because more than ever, I just believe that there's certain principles that we can take from each culture and implement them in ours in order for it to flourish. Just because saving and investing is something that we need to equip ourselves with more than ever,
Yeah.
and just unity. So I'm just looking excited for these times.
That's real, man. And I'm familiar with the checklist and the 2K a week challenge, and I really wanted to bring those up because so many of us out there, we didn't have an example or a blueprint on how to get from where we are to where it is that we're aiming to get. Now, that's not everybody, but that's a large percentage of us. Just like you mentioned with your father earlier, like he didn't have the exposure to the athletics and such to where he could choose that different path. He only knew what he knew. He only knew what was passed down to him. And it's so often that society gives inner city communities a bad rep, give inner city youth a bad rep. These are horrible kids. They do this, they do that. They're not amounting to anything. Well, look at how you talked about their parents the same way, and you didn't want to put anything in place to help their parents. So what type of offspring, what type of next generation do you think that's going to equip? So it takes us actually having something new placed in front of us so that we know that's another option. When all you know is being on the street corner, when all you know is doing some type of nefarious activity, if that's all you know, that's all you know. So before we can critique them, we have to at least be willing to reach out and teach them and show them a different way. And that's why I'm so grateful for the individuals that have been able to bring us into these groups, these programs that surrounded us with people like the Dr. Shirley Fergusons of the world, like the Takara Nicole Steels of the world. Like we've been surrounded by some people who are doing big things in life, some people who have they've had their own obstacles, but they didn't allow those obstacles to hold them back. They allowed it to actually push them forward. And there's a book club call that we do with Chris Holder once a week or once a month. And he discusses the ups and downs of his life and how it got him to where he is. And he mentions in one chapter, and I'm not going to give too much of it away, but he mentions in one chapter he was laying on the asphalt. It was raining, and he had just gotten electrocuted. Get the book if you want the details. He just got electrocuted, and he was looking up to the sky. He said he asked God, like, "Is this how it's going to end for me? Like, is this rock bottom? Like, is this how it's going to end for me?"
Yeah.
And it was from that point forward that he was like, "You know what? I'm going to go get mine."
Yeah.
And he started to create what he has created for so many people right now, where he has put together what he calls the $100 million Run Group, whereas he's looking to help about 1,000 people, about 100 people hit that $100 million run, hit that $100,000 mark, so that collectively we can surmount and get to that $100 million run or that $100 million mark. So it's not just about him hitting $100 million. It's about him using his life experience, the circumstances that he's been through, the ups and downs of his life. Thank you, Sharice. But we were able to look at his ups and downs to see, okay, it's there's so much more to life if you, like you said, position yourself around the right people. If you start to put the right things into your head and just visualize what can be now that you have access to what has been for someone else. So I'm just so thankful that that we were able to connect with him, and There's so many things that each of us brings to the table.
Mm.
Like before meeting Chris, I was able to start my own company, start 2 different companies. I was able to develop a nonprofit organization, to develop a mentoring program. I had done a lot. When it comes to someone from my community, at least, like they don't do that stuff from where I'm from.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, I needed someone that was able to stretch me and make me realize that, like, you haven't hit nowhere near your peak yet. So, so yeah, man, I'm just glad that you mentioned those things, and I think I had one more thing down that you mentioned. Um, no, that was it in those specific regards. So, so tell us, man, when it comes to everything that you do, from the fitness space to the financial space, be it in the credit education space, be it in the trading space, as far as helping people um, take advantage of skill set that they can use to get them in a good financial place. Where do you really see? Yeah, we appreciate you sharing your story, man. Um,
My pleasure.
where do you see? Okay, you're 25. You 20. When is your birthday again?
Every 22nd, I'll be
April
26.
22nd. All right, so we are just under 10 years apart. I made 35. Well, November 11th, so just over a week ago.
Oh, it's crazy. You and my nephew, y'all actually had the same birthday.
Really?
Yeah, y'all had the same birthday. I was like, man, ain't that ironic? I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
So question, man. When you are where I am, age-wise, 10 more years in the game, like you started I didn't start getting my mind. I didn't start getting my mind in the right place until I was 27. That's when I started getting my mind in the right place and figuring out what I want to do with my life. So you having the mentorship that you have right now, already having businesses that you've been able to develop, already having experience in the personal training space, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What have you accomplished? Where you living? Like, what is life for you, man?
10 years from now, life is really, really well. I'm living well off. I'm giving my best version of myself to the world at a high level. Just because I understand the importance of giving, and like I just want to be the ultimate giver. So I see myself just honestly, I could probably I could have my own AAU team by then for sure. If not, be talking about owning the team within the next 5 years after that. Um, and honestly, just empowering my community, but also being around the world as much as possible. Just duplicating myself so many times because I'm just looking at I just duplicated. Like my girlfriend just became an author, so I look like 10 years from now I'm gonna have like a lot of authors and a lot of different trainers. There's a lot of different people working in the credit, helping people become successful in trading, to the point to where I can just help people become the best version of themselves. And me learning about business plans, sales, marketing, social media, I just believe anything can happen, man. I believe I can really hit that billion. I can have $1 billion by then if I just put my head down and do the work and focus and really just be an asset to everybody's problems. So I really see myself hitting that $1 billion mark by the time I'm
Right.
35.
So
For sure.
this is what I want to do, and you already know where I'm. You likely already know where I'm going with this, and I want everybody who's watching to do the same thing. When and if somebody ever asks you that question, and after you've answered it, and you just go back to yourself first, always aim to replace "I want to," "I think I could" with "I will be."
I
I'm
will
going to, like, own it,
own
because
it.
the sooner you start to own it and tell your brain that it's yours, your brain don't know the difference. Your brain has no idea if that's true or not. But the more you tell your brain it's true, and I'm going into this whole psychology space, the more that you tell, I can tell my brain right now that this is a PlayStation that I'm talking to you through. And if I tell my brain that enough times consistently, give me a couple years and we'll have a all out drag out argument, me telling you this is a PlayStation. I don't care what you say. Like, Your brain is, you can liken your brain to fertile land. Some of you may have heard this analogy. You can liken your brain to fertile land, whereas it doesn't care what you plant in it. It don't care negativity or positivity. Just as land don't care if you plant sticker briars, poison ivy, or crops that's going to feed your family. It doesn't care. But what you plant in it, and you continue to plant in it, and you continue to take care of on a consistent basis, it will return to you in abundance. So tell it whatever it is that you truly want to be, as if it is, and then eventually it's going to come to be, because what will happen is those thoughts will start to change the wiring, literally change the wiring of your brain to start to give you emotions and certain areas, and where your emotions go, your energy flows. So it's going to give you certain emotions, and those emotions are gonna push forward certain behaviors that you're acting on an everyday basis, and those behaviors will become the activities that brings what started as a thought into manifestation. You hear people who say, I had a dream about X, and then I wrote it down. And for those of you who are in the spiritual space, I wrote it down and made it plain. You write it down, make it plain, make it simple for you to be able to understand it. Heck, draw a picture out about it. Tell a story and record it. Listen to it back. Write it down again. But always write it, speak it, tell it as if it's yours. Because slowly but surely it will become yours. But it all starts here as a thought. It all starts as a thought. And I'm going to share this one story, Al, and then I'm going to let you go. As we get ready to wrap up. But one thing that turned my life around. I was living in Miami after I graduated from getting both of my bachelor's degrees. I wanted to put both of them to work at the same time. So I moved to Miami, Florida, where I knew I was going to have to use my Spanish, because like Miami is pretty much Central America. And I knew I was going to use my psychology for whatever field I'm looking to get into. So I became a professional, and I really polished my professionalism to where my confidence, my self-confidence, it kind of skyrocketed. And I was able to take what I wanted to do in this world to come back. And this was 2015. To come back, and I wanted to create mentoring programs to prepare that next generation to not have to struggle as much as the generation that came before them. So upon orientation into that master's program, whereas most of the students were introducing themselves, everybody in the whole, it was part-time and full-time cohort. There was 100, I think like 106. That was a bunch of us in there. Anyways, pretty much everyone was saying right around the lines of, I'm interested in mental health with adults. I'm hoping that I can find a good internship so that I can, when I graduate, I can work for Pine Belt Mental Health and the Adult Psychology Ward. Like something very, and not to put down on anyone, because I mean, they just didn't have the push or the inspiration or whatever. But when it got to me, I wasn't trying to be condescending. I just wanted to affirm what my life was going to be. Not what I kind of thought would happen, but I wanted to affirm what was going to happen to me because of getting in that program. So when I introduced myself, I said, well, I came here not to sit in the classroom, get good grades, hope to graduate and get a good job in the field, but I came to get active across campus, across the community, and across the state, so that once I do graduate, I'll be able to go out and do exactly what I want to do to make the impact that I want to make. Now, what I wanted to do was to create mentoring programs. I didn't know how I was going to bring that to fruition, but literally the very first semester, less than 2 months in, I had my first opportunity to go and speak at other universities. A month or so after that, I had my next opportunity to go and speak in front of the the professionals in the and nutrition space, specifically around obesity and chronic related, like the whole physical fitness. I was
Yeah.
able to speak in front of that population and start my first social business. The next semester, I got my first publication under my belt. That next summer, I created my first nonprofit organization. That next year, I was able to help develop a mentoring program or the initiation of a mentoring program at the high school, at the school district that I actually graduated from. And then after I graduated, I was recruited to LSU. Plus, I was brought in to partner with Mississippi Valley State University and the University of Southern Miss to develop a mentoring program for the youth. And I served as a leadership consultant over those programs. And I was able to do so through my own company that I developed because I said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Before I knew how, I said I was going to do it. And one of our mentors says, and you can take it to the bank, if you know what you want to do, if you know why you want to do it, the how will take care of itself.
For sure.
And that's it, man. So, before we leave, as we wrap up, just give the people one more time, man. Like, how can you be of service to them in the financial and or fitness space? Like, what is it that you do in the trading space to help people? What is it that you do in the credit or financial education space?
So, in the financial space, when it comes to credit, I can help people get their credit right and also get some stuff off their credit or get a will and trust to so many different products and services that I ambassador through this company that I'm working with. And also with the trading, I have a few friends who are teaching me how to trade. So we can definitely get to you and just understand, like, help you understand trading. And whenever you're ready to just invest in yourself, you can do that as well. And when it comes to training, I train at World Gym and I teach classes there. But I'm open minded to. I'm going to start my online program soon. And if people just need workout advice or just have any questions or comments with their concerns when it comes to the fitness, they can just hit me up and I'll be free to help. Just because I just believe in just giving away wisdom so that way people can flourish. Because it's something that I really love to do. And I'm just looking to grow in all these spaces because I understand it's going to help me empower myself for generations to come. And it's about just challenging myself in the right way so that way I can help others do the same.
That's real. Now, if they want to connect with you, I know you got a website that's going to be live anytime within the next week or so. But what's your name here on Facebook that they can look up to connect with you here?
Al Curry. You should be able to type in Al Curry. They should be able to find me on Instagram and Twitter, Al the Leader. And you'll be able to access my link tree when it comes to any opportunities or if you want to check out what I have to offer.
Got it. All right. That's Al Curry here on Facebook. Feel free to go to my page, find this video, or you can click on Al's name. I'll make sure that I tag him here. I'm dropping in the comment section right now his Instagram handle, and it's the same for Twitter. Y'all reach out and stay in touch. And once his website goes live, we'll make sure to put that information out. If you're in Texas, if you're anywhere between Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, maybe South Carolina, Florida, I'm looking to really make some big things happen and in our community. And Al is definitely going to play a part in that. So yeah, man, y'all keep a lookout, and we shall see y'all soon. Thank you for your time, man, and we're going to be in touch.
Thank you too, man. Much love. You take care.
For sure. Much love. Take it easy now.
All right.